How to apply for a CR1 spouse visa. Today's topic is how to apply to bring your spouse to the USA. I am Fred Wahl, the Visa Coach, and I work for you to prepare and craft your applications to submit to U.S. immigration. Sometimes callers ask me, well, do I fill in the forms for them, or do they have to fill them in themselves? Well, of course, I and the VisaCoach team together fill in all of the necessary paperwork and prepare your complete application package for you. And unlike, well, our competitors, we do not abandon you once you submit your application, but remain at your side and continue working and guiding you all the way on this journey until your spouse, well, calls to say she or he is on the way. And after arrival to the USA, we remain available to help with the future steps at U.S. immigration, obtaining permanent residency, and eventually, well, U.S. citizenship. Now, what is your current situation? Well, you have fallen in love, and your special someone lives far from your home in a foreign land. You are separated by thousands of miles, and you have had enough webcam and instant message conversations to last a lifetime. You want to end your loneliness and the separation. You need to bring her or him home to stay. So, what do? Well, you gird your loins to enter and eventually overcome a complicated and difficult immigration system that stands in the way of your happiness. Fortunately, I am here to help you. And today I'm going to explain how to bring your spouse home to the USA. And please watch to the end of this video, because near the end I will also explain what happens after your partner arrives. After all, after going through, well, so much effort, you don't want her or him to have to leave your side. So I will speak about what the next steps after arrival are needed to obtain and keep permanent residency, as well as the process for your partner to eventually become a U.S. citizen. Now, let's talk about how to bring your spouse to the USA on a CR1 spouse visa. Now, a brief summary of the process is as follows. We prepare an application, and it is submitted in the USA to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, called USCIS. And then once USCIS has, well, completed its review, the case goes to the U.S. State Department's National Visa Center, NVC, in New Hampshire. And finally, NVC couriers the case overseas to a U.S. embassy or consulate near your partner for your partner's in-person consular interview and issuance of the visa into your partner's passport. And then your partner travels to the USA, shows the visa at the border, and joins you here inside the USA. Now, let's get into the details. First, we submit a thick package of application forms and supporting documents and evidence. This is the front-loaded petition, well, that VisaCoach is famous for. My philosophy, the VisaCoach philosophy, which we rigorously follow on every case that Team VisaCoach works on, is that success, final outcome, final approval depends 99% on the quality of your application that you and we together prepare and submit to U.S. immigration. So we take every opportunity, leave no stone unturned in making your application as complete and persuasive as possible. The quality of the work we accomplish at the start at the front of this process determines the ultimate outcome. So when quality goes in, we expect a positive result to come out. Now, the petition package is mailed to USCIS. Spouse visa applications go to either Chicago or Phoenix. And after initial sorting, then the applications are signed and forwarded to one of, 6 possible USCIS service centers that are scattered around the USA. And at the destination USCIS service center, your case is reviewed and processed. USCIS takes many months, often over a year, to complete their review. And for current timing, it's best that you contact my offices, as USCIS processing times are a moving target. And recently, they've been changing on a monthly basis. And I'm sorry, but recently they have been going slower and slower. Applying for your partner's visa through U.S. immigration is similar, to traveling on a one-lane highway. The cars that get on the road ahead of you must exit and get to their destination before you can arrive at yours. And the cars behind you must wait for you to get to yours before they can get to theirs. And the only option you have is to enter and get in line as soon as you can. And at VisaCoach, we can't help you pass the other vehicles, but what we do is work to make sure that your vehicle, your application, is done properly, that it reliably makes the journey without breakdown and gets you to your destination as quickly as the immigration traffic will allow. The sooner you get started and the sooner you submit, providing your application is properly done, then the earlier you get your visa. Now, the review at USCIS includes an FBI background check. This is usually only on the U.S. citizen's background. However, it is also conducted on your partner if she or he had ever lived in the USA. When USCIS is satisfied with your application, they approve it. But they are really just saying that the USCIS review is over. Now, another branch of the U.S. government gets involved and must also finally approve your case. USCIS hands your case over to the U.S. Department of State for their review and processing. And they send it to their service center in New Hampshire called the National Visa Center, or NVC for short. NVC confirms, which consulate is the one to process your case and assigns a case number that starts with 3 letters that identify the consulate, such as CDJ for Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, MNL for Manila, Philippines, LGS for Lagos, Nigeria, and so on. While your case is at NVC, 2 fees are paid: a visa application fee and the affidavit of support fee. Now, once these fees are paid, then we gather and submit to NVC up-to-date information on your case and prepare your affidavit of support. And based on knowledge of your situation, we also identify what civil and evidence documents are required by NVC and help you to submit them. Now, required documents could include police clearances and civil documents such as birth, death, marriage, and divorce certificates. And financial evidence, such as tax returns, pay stubs, employment verification. Now, once we have submitted to NVC all of your required materials, they review them. And this review usually takes 1 or more months. Eventually, NVC says your case is documentarily qualified, or DQ, just like the ice cream stand. Normally, right after your case is documentarily qualified, DQ, NVC reaches out to the U.S. Embassy assigned to interview your spouse. They check with the consulate's appointment calendar and they schedule your spouse's interview for you. They will email you to confirm the date and the time your spouse should attend his or her interview. Then they pack your application into a DHL mailbag and ship it off to the consulate. Now, your case has arrived overseas at the consulate handling your case. And now, well, there are more critical steps for both you and your partner to accomplish before the interview. Please recall, unlike the other services, I, the VisaCoach, and my team are still with you on this journey. We are still with you to answer your last-minute questions and give you final instructions and personalized checklists in this final run-up to the final interview. Now, your spouse must make the rounds as needed, collecting any additional documents, well, that were not required earlier, but now must be taken to the consulate and presented at the interview. Usually, these are local government certificates confirming what her or his marital status is, birth certificates of children, even those not coming to the USA, and updates as needed on police clearances or financial eligibility. Prior to the consulate interview, your partner also undergoes a thorough medical exam at a clinic appointed by the consulate. The exam must only be conducted by the clinic that has been approved by the consulate. No other clinic. Your partner can't use their own doctor. At the end of the medical exam, the results will be sent directly to the consulate or given to your partner in a sealed envelope to hand carry. On the big day, your partner attends the interview at the U.S. consulate. Shortly after arrival at the consulate, she or he will be greeted by a local clerk and asked to present all the documents that the consulate requires. The clerk goes over each and every item, ticking off on his or her checklist, confirming whether or not the documents are satisfactory and there. It is critical that your partner be well prepared and has brought everything that is required. Because failure to bring even one item, well, might cause the interview to be canceled. Or, if allowed to proceed, might add months, not kidding, of additional delay till the visa is issued. Because this is so critical, and with proper planning, it is so easy to avoid problems. Well, we at VisaCoach prepare for you a personalized, detailed checklist on exactly what must be brought to the consulate without fail. We prepare this checklist using our knowledge of your background and situation, combined with our previous experience working with the same consulate, knowing what they want as well as what they don't want. Finally, comes the actual interview. This is when your partner meets with an American consular officer, and it is no longer, well, the local hires. This officer will be making, well, the final decision on your case. This is the big event. During the interview, the consular officer must be convinced that your relationship is bona fide, not a sham contrived for immigration purposes. I'm sorry to say this, but U.S. immigration has had a long and troubled history with visas for fiancés and spouses. Their experience has not been a good one. You see, for regular immigration, there are simple tests of eligibility. For example, if a naturalized U.S. citizen applied for his or her brother to immigrate to the USA, eligibility would be simply demonstrated by review of both birth certificates. The parents' names on the birth certificates would match, and the brother would promptly hear, "Welcome to the USA." But for romance-type visas, for the spouse visa you have applied for, there is no simple, clear test. even a marriage certificate, well, proving you're lawfully married, sorry, it's not enough. Instead, the officer must rely on your and your partner's words, your statements that your relationship is real, not a sham for immigration purposes. And please, don't get me wrong. I know that you are totally sincere. You're totally in love. You're totally genuine. Sadly, the officer does not know you like I do. There is nothing personal about the officer's suspicions, because before you, the well has been poisoned by the conmen, scammers, gigolos, and gold diggers who long ago figured out that, well, if they convincingly lied about their plans, lied about wanting to be in a stable marriage with an American partner, well, they could cheat their way to win the golden ticket to a richer life in the USA. These crooks have made it difficult for honest people like you. Now, because no simple, reliable test exists, because so many consular officers have been tricked and made fools of, because of their frustration and embarrassment, the consular officers have decided, well, to take, well, the gloomy and confrontational attitude that all romance visa cases are probably shams. They're probably not bona fide. And so sadly, they'll treat you and your partner as guilty until proven innocent. Now, the original application that, well, we prepared and submitted to USCIS long ago at the start of this journey now lands on the consular officer's desk for his or her preparation for the interview. The officer reviews the application while your partner, alone and nervous, is waiting in the lobby of the consulate. The officer searches, well, for clues of trickery, for red flags that might increase his general suspicions. He is looking for reasons to deny. And this is why the VisaCoach method of front-loading a petition is so valuable. We craft each application understanding the consular officer's standpoint. We understand, as a professional, if he or she is convinced of your sincerity, he or she is going to approve and issue the visa. But we also know that if it is not crystal clear to the officer that the couple is genuine, if for any reason he or she is not absolutely convinced, well, the officer would prefer, well, to deny instead of taking a chance and saying yes. After all, if he or she approves a scamming couple, the officer's career and reputation is hurt. But if the officer makes a mistake and denies an honest couple, well, he or she is only being diligent. And, well, you know what? The denied couple can always reapply. So no harm, no foul, no harm done. Now, so what we do is help the officer make the right decision. We help him do his or her job by going the extra mile preparing your application. We make sure that it does the sincere, honest, and persuasive talking for you to convince a reasonable but skeptical officer to trust you and your situation. Now, it would be nice if you could attend the interview and personally be available to, well, smooth out any misunderstandings before they cause problems. But you won't be there. Only your partner attends the interview. And even if you are present outside the consulate, you're not allowed in. You remain outside. Your partner undergoes this interview alone. Now, while you can't be there in person, well, our philosophy at VisaCoach is to help you be there at least in spirit. With each VisaCoach front-loaded application, we include a personal statement from you that describes how you met, why you were attracted to each other, the development of your relationship, key moments in your courtship, the circumstances of your proposal, what happened at the wedding, and your plans for a future life and family together in the USA. Bona fide couples, honest couples, have history. They have plans. And their history and plans have many, many details. By sharing these details, we help the officer to get to know you. And once the officer gets to know you, well, he or she is surely going to trust you and your situation. Now, for most of my clients, creative writing is difficult. It sure is difficult for me. But I have designed our system at VisaCoach to help make it, well, easy for you to tell your important, honest, detailed story. We help you tell your story by asking you short, pertinent questions about the courtship and plans for the future. We take your answers given in your voice and prepare your personal statement for the officer to get to know you. This personal, honest statement goes a long, long way to bring the consular officer to an early understanding that you and your partner are two genuine and sympathetic human beings who have a sincere love story and, well, could be his neighbors back in the USA. But telling your story is still not enough. Words alone are not enough. A successful petition must also verify your honest story with actual proof. So once we know your situation, VisaCoach provides a thorough, detailed, personalized checklist of the various types of evidence that support your application. Your relationship breaks down into two parts: the times you were long distance and the times that you were together in person. So we help you identify your demonstrative evidence from both parts and combine them into your final front-loaded petition. By front-loading your application with well-chosen evidence, by telling your story to place you there in spirit, well, we are setting the tone for a short and sweet, successful interview ending with "Welcome to the USA." Now, about 2 weeks later, the consulate returns your partner's passport with the visa stamped inside. It is usually shipped via a local, well, courier service. The courier delivers the passport to your partner's home address, or if your partner prefers, she or he can arrange to personally pick the passport up at one of the courier's offices. The visa is valid for 6 months, and the clock starts ticking on the date of the medical, not the date of the consulate interview. So we recommend taking the medical, well, close to the time of the consulate interview, about, well, 2 weeks earlier. Now, your partner has plenty of time to settle affairs, give notice, say goodbye to family and friends, pack, then leave for the USA. The spouse visa application is called, well, regular immigration. They know your partner is coming to the USA to stay. So, included in the application process is approval and granting of permanent residency in the USA. So immediately on arrival to the USA, your spouse can work. She or he can travel in and out of the USA and can remain with you. The actual green card, that driver's license size card that proves all this, well, will arrive in the mail in about a month or two. But wait, the green card that arrives shows it is only good for 2 years. It's going to expire. This temporary green card is called a conditional green card. At the start of the immigration process, for your partner to get permission to come to the USA, we had to overcome U.S. immigration's guilty until proven innocent attitude. Well, the reason that they only issue a temporary conditional green card, well, is because they're still cautious. They are still skeptical about your romance. And they want one more opportunity to catch you in fraud. So before the 2-year deadline, I'm available to help, again apply to U.S. immigration. This time we apply to upgrade your spouse's temporary green card to get a permanent one. This application is called Removal of Conditions on Residence. And once again, to be successful, we must demonstrate your relationship's sincerity. Now we must submit evidence of your last 2 years of living together in the USA, including, well, bank accounts and written statements from your friends and neighbors attesting to knowing you as a bona fide, genuine couple. And at the end of this process, your spouse finally gets a regular green card. This one is permanent, without conditions. And for many, this is the last stop on the U.S. immigration journey. Your spouse has her or his green card, can reside in the USA as long as she or he wants. However, for many, there is one last final step that is taken, and that is to apply for naturalization and become a U.S. citizen. Now, once your spouse has been a lawful resident for 2 years and 9 months, your spouse is eligible to apply to become a U.S. citizen. And on approval, is allowed to vote in U.S. elections and travel using a U.S. passport. And of course, I and the VisaCoach team are there to help with this final application as well. Now, the couples Team VisaCoach helps become our friends and family. We are honored to guide you through each step of the immigration journey, starting from courtship to arrival in the visa, to conditional and then an unconditional permanent residency, and finally, all the way through to U.S. citizenship, U.S. naturalization and citizenship. This was Fred Wahl, the VisaCoach, and I'm here to personally guide you on this journey. Please like or add your comments to this video. Now click here to sign up for our monthly newsletter and receive bonus ebooks. Here for YouTube's recommendations. Here for the full playlist of recent videos on spouse visas. And here to subscribe to our channel.